If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage.
There are several warning signs.
Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Oh, man.
Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
You're blind. You're trying to escape from here, aren't you? I want to see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off. Good luck not getting killed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Watkins Glen International, where tonight the stars and cars of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship will take on one of the world's most picturesque and fast road courses. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to be joined by James Watson and Sebastian Kinder. Camera design and production tonight by Connor Baldwin. Thank you very much for your help, Connor. And qualifications already out on the racetrack. One name we don't see out there on the racetrack yet is Greg Seitz. He has, well, quite frankly, annihilated this series so far this season. Currently sitting at the top of the point standings. 5 weeks, he has 11 wins and 10 poles in 13 starts. 837 points is the total. Second overall, Mitch Green out of Pennsylvania, 641 markers. Nearly 200-point lead this early in the season. And let's bring in Sebastian and James here. And James, will lead off with you. We got to see a fantastic race here the last time the PM18s ran Watkins Glen and the officials. This just feels like one of those racetracks that is perfectly suited to these cars.
Well, it seems like James has maybe some technical difficulties, so bonsoir à tous et à tous. Et oui, mon cher était... oh, je me suis trompé de langue. Sorry, Chris, I'm just very tired from that Ezra race, but yeah, Watkins Glen, I mean, I wasn't there for season 2 of the Strength of Field races, but I'm going to say with a bit of experience in this car, and especially on this track, and James can approve of that, we had a little race in the Replacement Racing League, the Challenge Series in there. James won it, of course, because he wants everything in there. yeah, it's a very fun track, very fast, and some every kind of corners. And it's to be honest, it's one of my favorite tracks on the service with Indianapolis.
Yeah, James and Seb was talking a little bit about the racetrack here, and we were mentioning here with the question we posed to you anyway was the fit of these race cars is like almost perfect for how the car just seems to suit this place really, really well.
Honestly, I'd be hard pressed to find a car that doesn't suit Watkins Glen. It's one of those great racetracks. It's tough, but it's not unmanageable. It's tight, but you don't feel claustrophobic like a street course. It's one where anyone, even non-road racing guys, can get on it and feel comfortable and have fun with it. I mean, heck, even stock cars run well on this track. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, this place is truly one of the gems of the motorsports world, and in a very picturesque location too, in the Finger Lakes of New York. Cars already working on, for the most part already working on their second lap. Matthew Morhart going to be quick timer so far to 1:41.95. Mike Holler, Nagisa Yashikawa, Dylan Kratzky, Simon Fell, your top five. Couple of names that we don't see here. The McDonald brothers are one of them, but we do have Rui Coimbra, Everett Paddock. I mean, this is just going to be an absolutely loaded field here. Greg Seitz obviously is in the show. Frank Wynn, Mike Holler, Nagisa Yashikawa. The top five guys that we just named all have a realistic shot at this thing. Following along here with Greg Seitz as he is getting ready to complete lap number one, making his way down through turn 10, then a quick snap back to the right for turn 11. See lap number one going up on the board. He will be second, quick 1:41.49. 7/100th of a second.
What? What? He's the first? What?
Yeah, that's a heck of a lap by Everett.
I say Everett Paddock with a fantastic lap.
It's been a while since we've seen Everett. We haven't seen him a whole lot this season like we did back in season one. He's making a reappearance, and he's making an entrance with this reappearance. Good gracious.
Paddock going quick time again in the middle sector, now working sector number 4. This is one of those road courses that does have 5 sectors attached to it. Looking pretty darn quick here through sector 4. Does go a little bit slower than his personal best time. We'll see what he's going to do here for lap number 2. Off the final corner and down the front straightaway, Everett Paddock onto the checkered flag. See what lap number 2 looks like. 4/100th of a second slower. Producer Connor, if you could check the text chat. Good Lord. My mouth doesn't want to work tonight. Following along with Greg Seitz. He's quicker in the first 2 sectors. See what he's going to do here in the final sector. It looks pretty darn good.
There it is.
Quick time, 1:41.12 seconds. Seitz goes a half second quicker on lap number 2. Absolutely unreal. Last car with a shot is going to be Bryson Frank. Everybody else, including Greg Seitz, has completed their 2 laps. And a big-time surprise here, guys. Roy Coimbra does not get a lap in the books.
Yeah, I think he must have picked up some incidents on both of his laps. It shows him complete, but nothing on the board. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it went well for him.
Yeah. Like I'm checking his qualifying lap, and like it's blank for the 2 laps. Yeah, he got incident points.
want to thank everybody who's tuned in here on the National Racing Network YouTube channel. As qualifications will wrap up, 17 cars will take the green flag. Total of 35, I believe, across 2 splits. So we wait for everybody to get out onto the starting grid. We'll get to the starting lineup here in just a moment. But as we were saying, want to welcome everybody who's watching on the YouTube channel. As a reminder, we do have subscriptions if you want to support our efforts for as little as $2.99 American US dollars. You can show a little bit of love our way. We greatly appreciate that one. We also have super chats available. It's about a guaranteed way to get me to talk about your comment here during the broadcast as well. Some of these drivers obviously making some setup changes here. We're starting to see everybody pop in, but we'll get you the starting grid here in just a moment. Still waiting on the top 3 to get onto the racetrack, along with Darren Fahey.
Turn 1 will be to watch for. Like James, we are experienced enough with racing as Watkins Glen, and we all know that turn 1. Ooh.
Yeah, a bunch of fast cars piling down to a tight 90-degree right-hander. What could go wrong?
You asked that question now. You have already put the bad juju on the field there, Mr. Watson. Congratulations. Here is your starting lineup as we get ready to roll off here. All the cars are on the grid. Greg Seitz, Everett Paddock will make up row number 1, and that will be an interesting duel there into turn 1. Mike Holler and Frank Wynn will occupy row number 2. Matthew Morehart and Nagisa Yashikawa on row 3. Dylan Kratzky and Bryson Frank on the 4th row. The Atlantic's Michael Olson and Joe Walker out of the Mid-South on row number 5. Simon Fell and Otis Adams Jr. on row number 6. Row 7 will have Steve Koffel and Darren Fahey. John Dinkle and Nathan Bart on row number 8. All alone in row 9 will be Roy Coimbra. Another name interesting to see at the back here, Seb, is John Dinkle. He's been towards the front all season and did not have a real good lap here in qualifications.
Yeah. Now that you're mentioning it, John has been towards like middle or front, but yeah, he really had a bad one in qualifying.
I have to say a huge thank you to Peter Drayton checking in the comments. Thank you for the super chat there, sir. We appreciate it. This does utilize the full boot layout here, which actually is not the original layout to this Watkins Glen facility. Watkins Glen International, the course that their drivers are on now, originally opened as what's called the classic layout, which would have ignored the boot. And actually, it's kind of had a longer configuration as well. But this configuration of the race course did not have the boot until F1 started to come here. Once the F1 cars came around, then they added the boot, really extended the circuit out. This series of corners that they're going to start making their way into here really is a pretty difficult challenge compared to the rest of the race course, where turn 1 is a hard 90 and the rest of the lap is just guns blazing fast. This one here, James, this whole section is pretty technical.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to drive than I think. Especially here, the off-camber, it's incredibly easy to lose it. And pulling back onto the regular track, oh my goodness, that is an absolute disaster. I don't think there's a single car I haven't spun in on that corner. It's just not okay.
That turn is evil.
Mitch Green checking in the comments here, which is absolutely fantastic. Wanting to know what the strength of field is. 2763 is that number here. We can also give you the information on the weather forecast, courtesy of the fine folks at the Weather Center. Partly cloudy skies, 68.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperature is 73. Going to be a little tough to get these tires up to temperature. Winds out of the west at 1 mile an hour. No fog, relative humidity is fairly low. But that really will be a challenge here, as these drivers are going to have to work very, very hard to get these tires up to temperature. Field lined up side by side, entering turn number 11. And as always, race fans, the start of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship here on NRN is all yours. Oh, one car going around towards the back of the pack. Steve Caffel going around. Everybody else clean and green. Lap number 1 is in the books. Greg Seitz already trying to break the slipstream in the draft as they get down to turn number 1. He's got a lead of a half second over Everett Paddock. Everybody running just a little bit wide there. No X's for that running wide at turn number 1. They'll make their way up the hill through turns 3 and 4. Now here back out of turn number 5 onto the long back straightaway down towards the inner loop.
Aggressive defending from Greg here.
Yeah, Everett Paddock doing a nice job of holding with Greg Seitz here. And that will be a storyline to see develop over the course of the race. Is even with the talent that we have in these races, Greg Seitz has been able to check out big time.
Yeah, but
not doing that today. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, the draft here is very significant. It is absolutely the great equalizer. And Everett and Frank have the pace to be able to use that to their advantage and keep with them. This is going to be fun. We actually see some major fighting up at the front. Clash with the Titan straight up.
This is starting to play out very similarly to what we saw in the 2021 Season 2 race, where Frank Wynn sat back there in third position. Actually, may have even been a little bit further back than that. And he was just biding his time, logging laps, being smart. Everybody else ahead of them got into trouble making, you know, kind of bonsai dive bomb moves and stuff. And Frank Wynn came out of here with a victory. We'll see if that similar storyline develops here over the course of the next 16 laps as we work lap number 3 of 18. Paddock and Frank Wynn get a do battle here.
Speaking of dive bombs, like I think we didn't see, but Bryson Frank and Matthew Mohart must have collided because they were like mid-pack. Now they're in the pits and now they're in the last position.
Yeah, I don't see that they crashed per se, but both cars went off track. See if we can get a Hot Shoe Raceway instant replay here of the incident for Matthew Mohart. Oh, big time contact. Hard into the outside tire barrier. That's right at the entrance to turn number 6. Trouble also here on the restart for Steve Kaffel. A little bit of a lockup on entry, then just too quick to the throttle on exit. Man, nice piece of driving there at the back of the pack. Yeah, Matthew Morhart, Brian Frank out of the race. Steve Kaffel about 7 seconds back after that little excursion on lap number 1. Greg Seitz holds on to a half-second lead over Everett Paddock and Frank Wynn. I'll tell you what here, guys, the other thing about Watkins Glen, this place is so fast that you're going to tick laps off in a big-time hurry here.
I mean, the lap is still like, what, 1 minute 40? So, I mean, yeah, it's a fast track, but it's, yeah, the lap feels kind of, a bit long.
What you're saying here, Seb, is there's a lot of opportunities here to still be patient and make the moves as we look back here at the fight for the 9th position. Mike Olson and John Dinkle battling it out here. This is about 11 seconds in arrears of your race leaders. Big move up to the inside. Nice pass there by John Dinkle. And he is going to go right on the attack on Simon Fell. Dinkle up 6 spots from the drop of the green flag. The other story we were keeping an eye on here, Roy Kimbra, he's now up to the 11th position, just coming around Darren Fahey. But he's got a 1 2/3 seconds here to get up to Mike Olson. That has to be just incredibly frustrating to have the mistakes like that in qualifying that really put you in a big way behind the 8 ball.
And it's hard to really keep passes on here with the draft because cars are going to be able to stick by you unless you really have a big pace advantage. So it's just all kinds of bad to throw up qual here.
That turn number 8 that they just came through, and then especially here turn 9, 2 of the trickier corners at Watkins Glen. Turn 8, it sort of seems like it feels like the track just dives away from you, and it goes from being on camber on entry to being neutral to possibly even off camber on exit. The car just wants to slide or go around in that corner.
And it always catches you off guard. No matter how many times you go through it, and no matter how much you're expecting it, it always catches you off guard in some sort of way. There's really no great way to really nail it consistently, or at least my crappy ass can't do it.
Pick up the fight here for 4th, Mike Holler and Dylan Kratzky. This fight's a pretty good one. Making their way through the carousel at turn number 5. Big shot down the hill here into 6. This is another corner. It just feels like it's constantly falling away from you. Trouble on the racetrack for Nathan Brandt and Joe Walker. Get you a Hot Shoe Raceware instant replay of that one. See what we had going into the inner loop. Brandt missed the corner just a little bit. Walker hard into the back end. He clips the inside retaining wall. It's a break for those cars. I tell you what here, guys, the battle for the race lead might end up being a pretty good one here before too long. Greg Seitz and Everett Paddock lapping about a half second quicker than Frank Wynn in 3rd, but Paddock set the fastest lap of the race last time by, and they are right in the ballpark of each other as well. Seitz quicker by about 0.04 of a second or so. Way wide at turn number 1. That really is a way to carry a ton of speed through that corner, though, by opening it up on exit, correct, Seb?
Oh yeah, absolutely. By opening the wheel, you can pull the throttle much more earlier. The catch is do not spin, do not go too much on the curb, and do not go onto the grass.
Yeah, it's a delicate operation here. As we see John Dinkle coming around Simon Fell. That's the battle for the 8th position. Dinkle getting up through the field here in a hurry, and Simon Fell's going to have Mike Olson to worry about. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th on the racetrack. Sitting about 15 seconds in arrears of race leader Greg Seitz. Really interesting to look at the sector times here. Greg Seitz is faster in the middle of the racetrack. Everett Paddock is faster beginning and end of the racetrack. Although we say that, and Seitz goes quickest overall on 2 sectors there, and still doesn't set a fastest lap time of the race.
That draft, man, I'm telling you, it is gnarly. You don't expect it to be that significant in these cars, but we've seen it in all kinds of different, slightly bigger tracks. How much gain are ahead. It's just unreal.
I mean, just remember Red Bull Ring last week. It was insane.
Coming up on the lap car, I believe that is Joe Walker. That your race leaders will be coming up on here. Already hitting lap traffic, and we're not even to the halfway point yet. Pick up the battle here for the 4th position. Mike Holler, Dylan Kratzky dueling their way through turn number 8. And Seb, talk a little bit about how evil this corner number 9 is. It feels like it's bone flat, but the reality is it's off camber, very quick, and technically one of the toughest corners you'll ever drive.
Number 9, large. Yeah, that corner. Oh!
Into the outside wall for Dylan Kratzky. A big time piece of the outside tire barrier on the entrance or the exit, excuse me, of turn number 11. See if there's any damage to the car. Doesn't look too bad here. It's the fight for the lead is starting to heat up. Seitz and Paddock separated by less than 0.2 of a second. And one thing I remember about Everett Paddock here, guys, is he's not afraid to throw it in and really attempt that aggressive pass.
Yeah, we saw it a lot last season when he was having a lot of his bad luck and having to drive up through the field because, man, he could not catch a break last season.
Trouble on the racetrack for Mike Holler. We'll get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay of this one.
Too much curb.
The car is slidey in the inner loop, just a tiny bit too much curb. Forces the car to come to a stop. He gets himself righted and back through the carousel, but losing a ton of time. Holler now back down to the 7th position. Only about 2 seconds ahead of John Dinkel, 8th as well. We're keeping an eye here on Greg Seitz, and as much as the draft may be able to help Everett Paddock in this situation, Greg Seitz is getting as much of it from the lap traffic ahead of him as any advantage that Everett Paddock's going to be getting.
Yeah, Everett kind of has to hope they can time it right and he can get a big run on him when there's not as many lap cars ahead. Otherwise, I think Greg might be able to maintain it because I don't see Greg, of all people, making any mistakes.
Maybe Steve Caffel, the lap car ahead of your race leaders. Looks like it is the number 16 machine, and he's had a couple of incidents already here tonight. Hey, I'll tell you what, Seb, as a race leader, you really got to kind of be careful here if you're not familiar with the drivers you're trying to get lapped.
Yeah, if I'm in Greg's situation, it's just like, oh, not now. Like, he managed traffic perfectly here, and that is a very important aspect of racing, traffic management.
Battle for the 8th position now here. It's Roy Kimbra and John Dinkle. Simon Fell not too far behind these two either. In fact, all three going to make their way through turn 7. They'll run up the hill, then down the hill. It looks flat on your screen, but you definitely run uphill, and then it starts to pitch you downhill here into turn number 8. Kind of right as you're getting on the brakes is when the asphalt starts to pitch away from you. Turn up the hill back into that ugly turn number 9. Here comes Dinkle. Thought about looking inside of Coimbra into 10. Won't attempt the pass there. We'll see if he tries to set it up here down the front straightaway. Gonna have a big toe here.
Oh.
Here's Dinkle looking to the inside. Has to pull it back in line. Discretion, the better part of valor there.
I mean, he had a big straight with a big draft, so what was the point of overtaking him and compromising that exit speed and, like, getting drafted?
That's really a great point, Seb. You can make the pass, but a lot of times you're going to be sacrificing so much corner exit speed that the driver you passed is going to come right back around you.
Exactly. Oh. Bit of a blink in there. I know how it feels.
Greg Seitz churning out quick laps here in a pretty big way. Ahead of Everett Paddock, the lead up to 9/10 of a second. Slide back, pick up Nagisa Yashikawa here in the 6th position. He's going to be fighting with Otis Adams Jr.
Ooh.
Already past the halfway point. What do you think here, guys? We haven't done one of these since the drop of the green flag here. Coming out of turn number 11 and across the start-finish line, we'll give the fans at home here a big old chance to crank it up. Lap number 12 is in the books. Greg Seitz holding on to a 1.5 second lead as we pick up this battle here between Otis Adams Jr. and Nagisa Yashikawa. Make their way up the hill, turn 3, turn 4, short run down to turn number 5. That is one of my favorite sections of any race course to drive. Requires a little bit of precision, but a whole lot more guts to do it.
I would say Eau Rouge is mine.
Oh my God. Eau Rouge, Radillon, screaming up the hill. Yes. See Matt Wagner checking in the comments. Hope your evening is better than mine. Yeah, you got hosed a little bit there in that Ezra IndyCar race just a little bit ago. Nice recovery drive back to, I believe, an 8th place finish for Matt.
6. Put some respect on my boy's
6th,
name.
there you go.
Hey,
place
don't
finish.
make like that.
This fight's settling down, but it's really the only battle we have on the racetrack is Everett Paddock falling about 1.7 seconds back of race leader Greg Seitz. With the exception of the race, I believe, trying to remember which one it was. Hockenheim, maybe? One race this season, Okayama. Greg Seitz elected to start from the pit lane and pass everybody. Outside of that, he's led just about every lap of our broadcast races this season. Next week, we head to the Hockenheim ring. We follow it up with visits to Iowa Speedway and the Chicago Street Course, which is going to be another new venue here for the PM18s.
PM18 at the street course, that may be very, very interesting. Like we saw in Ezra IndyCar, those kind of races, they are more survival races. You maybe have an optimal time, which let's say like it's 1:30, but you may run with like 1:31s or 1:32s because you're so focused, you're so trying to keep the car out of the walls that you unconsciously drive slower. I don't know what times you were running, James, but like I was running high 22, like low 22s, like middle 22s to high 22s in reds, mid 22s to.
Oh, big moment there for Otis Adams. Oh, and one car making contact with him as he sits backwards on the racetrack. Broadside to the field. We'll see if he's going to be able to get that car moving, but Otis Adams Jr. dropping like an absolute rock here, and he's got to take the toe back in. We'll go on board here with Otis Adams Jr. here for the Hot Shoe Raceware Instant Replay. Keep your eye on the steering wheel of that car.
Too much trouble.
That's an overcorrect.
Just tiniest bit of overcorrection. Oh, and then he got it beached on the edge of the racetrack.
Oh, man.
That's a heartbreaker there. Otis Adams going to have to tow back in, and looks like he will finish here in the 15th position. Now Roy Keimer is going to have to deal with John Dinkle. This fight isn't going anywhere. Mike Holler not too far in front of them as well, only about a second and a third up the racetrack. Hey, I'll tell you what here, though, James, it's what we talked about earlier in the race. That boot section is so easy to get the tiniest bit wrong, and it can end your race before you even realize what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the toe of the boot. It's not... It shouldn't be that difficult of a corner compared to the rest of it, but you just have to be so careful on corner exit, otherwise spin just like Odis did. It's almost as easy to spin on the exit of the toe as it is to do it here.
That corner.
It almost has a similar characteristic to it in that it doesn't get off camber, but it's almost like the radius of the corner is either tightening or widening. It's something about it where you have to just be very consistently smooth. If you screw up the corner entry, you just have to ride it out and don't try to fix it.
Yep, you gotta be real patient otherwise. Yeah.
Pick up your race leader here, Greg Seitz, who's now running away with this thing. 2 1/4 seconds up over Everett Paddock. There you see Paddock coming into the back of your shot. Seitz using every bit of racetrack here.
Yeah. Look at Greg's driving. Like each time we see, like this is how. This is some great road course racing right now. Like no, like road course driving, because racing right now we don't have a lot of today compared to Austria.
Well, yeah, but it is kind of a case study in if you want to improve your times as an iRacer and improve your abilities. Watch a lot of what Greg Seitz does in a PM18 because he's very smooth. He backs up the corner entry, which lets him get to the throttle very, very quickly. iRacing is perpetually about maximizing your corner exit speed. So we go on board here with your race leader. His hands are just so calm. I'll borrow the football line here. The guy's got great hands. You watch him, there's just no sudden movements. He's very much in tune with what the car should be doing and what it is doing.
The fusion between man and machine.
Which in the real world, a lot of that is accomplished through seat of the pants feel. You can feel the car starting to break loose. You can feel what the car is doing from lap to lap. In the virtual world, you really don't have those same physical cues that you get in the real world. You really have to be in tune mentally with what the car is doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go on. No, you go on.
I was just going to say, like, that reminded me of a quote from a certain movie where one of the characters is like, God grant me an average brain and a wonderful butt to feel every the car.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out where you were going with that at first step. I got a little concerned.
Come on, James! You disappoint me there!
Oh, that's fantastic.
All I
now
heard,
has... Go ahead.
all I heard was butt. I'm like, huh? What? Sorry.
Didn't want to say the A word.
If you guys could only hear what we got away with during the DeWeather Center broadcast. 10K'd checking in, saying hello. Thank you very much for checking in here tonight. I want to remind everybody, we do have our subscriptions on offer now. Click the join button. As low as $2.99 a month. You can show your support for the hard work of the National Racing Network, folks. We also are very grateful for our super chatters, including Peter Drayton. Thank you very much for that, sir. Almost a little bit of the breathe of the throttle there out of Greg Seitz. But another dominant performance. We'll come around to see the white flag just a couple of corners from now.
Already.
Yeah, this was quick. How about 34 minutes, 10 seconds, and the white flag goes in the air. Greg Seitz with a 2.8 second lead over Everett Paddock.
Yeah, meanwhile, the battle for fifth is heating up.
Yeah, battle for fifth is getting pretty good here. Nagisi Ashikawa, Mike Holler.
It's all about that exit of turn one. You don't want to be too close out of turn one, but you don't want to be too far. It's just the right amount.
Matt Wagner calling you out here, James, in the comments, saying he'll subscribe only if James Watson wins an IndyCar race.
Oh, that's dirty. That's dirty.
Cold.
That's dirty.
That is cold. I'm
That's a
doing
slight
the
job.
best I can. Thank you very much.
That's a slight job.
This is the battle between Yashikawa and Mike Holler, working its way down into the inner loop. Holler able to come around, claim that 5th position.
Ooh, not quite.
Little bit off on the exit of the inner loop.
And John Nicol has joined the party. Or is it John Nicol? No, that's not him.
Yeah, Roy Coimbra joining the party here. Race leader making his way off of turn number 11. Checkered flag in the air. Greg Seitz claims the win here at Watkins Glen over Everett Paddock. Frank Wynn looks like he's got to hold on for 3rd, but we've got a great battle back here. Nagisa Yashikawa, Roy Coimbra. Big move into turn 9. That's gutsy.
Love it. Love it.
Huge gut sack move by Nagisa Yashikawa. It's only for 6th position, but the price was worth every penny there. Checkered flag in the air for that battle as well. Frank Wynn holds on to finish 3rd. Dylan Kratzky 4th. Mike Holler 5th. Nagisa Yashikawa up to position number 6. 7th is Roy Coimbra. So we'll take a look here at who we're going to have available in the interview room. Just waiting on a couple of cars to come across the start-finish line, and then we can get you the results here.
Yeah, watching that Overton Nagisa pulled, that is beautiful. Like, you don't see a lot of overtake here, and it's for a good reason, but like here, wow.
There you go. Here are your race results. Greg Seitz, the winner by just over 3 seconds over Everett Paddock. Frank Wynn comes home in 3rd to round out the podium. Dylan Kratzky, Mike Holler are your top 5. Nagisa Yashikawa, Roy Coimbra, John Dinkle, Simon Fell, and Darren Fahey complete the top 10. Mike Olson, Odie Adams Jr., Steve Caffel, Nathan Brandt, Bryson Frank, Matthew Moorhart, and Joe Walker round out the field. And let's start off our Victory Lane interviews with your race winner tonight. Once again, getting the job done in a very big and dominant way here. Greg Seitz, congratulations on another outstanding victory there.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a tough one.
It's funny to hear you say that was tough. It was closer than some of the ones we've had of recent here, but was it just a matter of, I mean, Everett obviously is very, very strong anyway, but does the draft play a big role in allowing that 2nd place car to stay close?
Yeah, the draft is huge, and so really my whole strategy was push super, super hard to try to get, just to get the gap a little bit over a second, and he tenaciously stayed with me for about half the race, and then finally I think he made a small mistake, but yeah, I had to be kind of almost perfect for all those laps because the slightest mistake and then the car behind, gets a free catch-up pass.
Yeah, and we talked about it during the race broadcast, that as much as this place has a reputation for being fast and maybe not the most technical, and you really have to be spot on in hitting your marks lap after lap and corner after corner.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think, my strongest point, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I smashed the curbs in the bus stop. And that was where I think I had a slight advantage over them, and I used that to my advantage every time around if I could.
Yeah, it was a very impressive drive here this evening, and going to pad your point lead with a pretty strong strength of field for this one as well. So congratulations on the win. Who do you want to thank?
Thank you guys again for the broadcast. Everett for great race and great pressure, kept me honest, and my team Rust Racing for just great practice sessions where we work together.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is Greg Seitz, your race winner. Will pick up second place finisher here, Everett Paddock. And Everett, it seemed like you were able to keep with Greg early on in this one. Was it just a matter of a tiny mistake allowed him out of draft range?
I think that's probably selling Greg a little short. He's just overall quicker, right? It was really tough to keep up with him. He was pushing hard, and I used up the fronts. Once my fronts got a little hot, I got a little hard to turn the car, and I was struggling to keep in his draft. Then I had had a little less downforce, so it worked on the straightaway. But he pulled away on the back half of the course.
Yeah, it seemed like tonight's race was a matter of execution, hitting your marks lap after lap. And Greg really made a point of mentioning how he was attacking the inner loop slightly differently. He think that might have been one of his advantages. What is it about competing with a guy like Greg that do you learn something going, ooh, hey, maybe I can try that next time. Let me try that in practice and see if I can duplicate what he's doing?
Well, Greg's really generous and actually puts YouTube labs up and shows what he's doing. I mean, he uses a lot more track than I do. I'm also running a little different setup, so I think that that was part. I think part of it was the way he runs, but you got to run your style a little bit too. So, but yeah, he's it's always good to have him as a measuring stick.
Well, it was a fantastic podium finish for you here tonight, Everett. Glad to see you back here on the broadcast. We like getting to talk to you. So, congratulations on the runner-up finish. And who would you like to thank?
I want to thank my teammates again, especially Amadema. He put the setup together this week, and I really do like it. It's in every race that I've been in that Greg hasn't been in, it's been a lot better for me.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Everett. We appreciate the time here, and let's grab our third place finisher here tonight, Frank Wynn. And Frank, the last time we ran here at Watkins Glen, we talked to you in Victory Lane. You're standing again here in the interview room, this time with a third place podium finish. Congratulations. Tell us about it.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very happy with a third place finish, especially behind the likes of Greg Seitz and Everett Paddock. It was pretty much my race was set right when I had a great start and got past Michael Holler after turn one. And from there on, it was just a matter of trying to stay in the draft of Everett and Greg for as long as I could.
Seemed like you were kind of off on your own a little bit there. The final gap was 16 seconds to the race leader and 5.5 seconds to the car behind you. How difficult is it to manage that as a driver where you're just going, okay, I'm logging laps here. I've got a good finish. You're not really racing anybody or trying to catch up to anybody.
Lap one, as soon as I got sort of a gap to Michael in fourth, it was just trying to stay in the draft as long as I could. I was running more downforce than pretty much everyone else in the race, so it was just hoping I could stay in the draft as long as I could and build a gap where Michael was out of my draft. And as soon as I got the gap from him, it was just managing my markers and hitting the pretty much a consistent lap every lap, because I knew I wasn't going to catch up to Everett and Greg with their pace and their downforce.
Well, Frank, congratulations here again on a fantastic third place finish. Good points tonight for you as well. So who do you want to thank?
Oh, I want to thank my sponsor, Eurogonner. I know those two, the two-man dev team, they're hard at work. They're getting the demo out very soon. So want to thank them and all the fans in their Discord who might have tuned in. And of course, I want to thank you and RNTV for the broadcast. It's it's that much extra when you have a race that's being broadcast. So thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Frank. We appreciate the kind words. And with that here, we'll get ready to wrap up our coverage here. And we'll start with you, Seb. no surprise, Greg Seitz absolutely obliterates the field again.
I'm still looking for my box. I'm still looking, and I didn't find anything.
Yes, nothing left in the box of superlatives to describe Greg
Nothing.
Seitz.
Like the box doesn't even exist right now. We use
it's really one of those where it's fun to watch mastery of a craft, whether that's real world driving or some of the other content that might be available online. We get to watch Greg Seitz go out here and just absolutely put on a clinic, and it's really a lot of fun to watch. And James, we're looking at something similar possibly next week as we head to Hockenheim, another very fast racetrack in a place where we saw an incredible race one season ago.
I can't wait. It was an epic battle between all the Rust guys. Because that was another draft lock track. And we're going to get the same type of race, hopefully. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah, with the exception of the Chicago Street Course, we have a lot of very, very fast racetracks coming up here. Hockenheim, Iowa Speedway, the Chicago Street Course, Monza, Montreal, Gateway, and then we finish things off at the Green Hell. That's just going to be a fantastic close to the season. But with that, we'll wrap things up here for our National Racing Network coverage of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. For James Watson and Sebastian Kinder, my name is Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you with us this evening. We will talk to you again tomorrow night? Sunday night, I think. Tomorrow night, live racing action, Linda Speedway, Jonestown, Pennsylvania. You don't want to miss that one. But until then, we'll talk to you soon, everybody. Have a great night.